How's it going?
Hey there. Ça va, mon ami?
Nice. How's everything going?
Things are good. One point of clarification, not to be pedantic, but I'm not in Ottawa. I'm in Toronto. And the reason that I'm not in person at CX Connect right now, because I was trying to be, as you know, is that we're about to bring together all of Shopify, the first time since 2018 that the entire company is getting together. And we're doing that here in Toronto. So I'm actually in my little Toronto office here. But I wish I can be there in person with all of you.
Nice. All right. Really excited to have you here for this conversation. And we're going to be spending some time in person with Harley next week. Because actually...
you're coming, right? You're coming
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah, we're coming with Alex over here. And for folks in the attendance, like Michael mentioned, I met Harley maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And at the time, Shopify was like, hey, we noticed that there are some partners around us that are doing a good job and it's starting to push us and really help us. And Harley was at the forefront of them starting the investor program. And I think we were the first check from Shopify,
right.
which was fantastic. So it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here with us at our very first user conference. So thanks a lot, Harley, for making it. Appreciate that. Cool. Alrighty, so I told you about my Michael story, which is to me the definition of the gold standard for customer experience. So I'm curious to start by asking you, Harley, what is the best customer experience you ever had?
Wow, the best customer experience I ever had. So I'll give you 2 examples that are totally different. But the first one is an example that is very literally physically close to my heart, which is these T-shirts that I wear every single day, which are made by James Purse. James Purse, the brand, but James Purse, the human, the founder, has become a dear friend. And this is well before I knew James personally. I'm not even sure. I think James Purse at the time, they were just transitioning to Shopify. So this wasn't a unique Harley experience. This was just a James Purse experience. But I walked into their store. They have a store in Toronto here in Yorkville, not too far from where I'm standing at the Toronto port. And I walked in, and one of the sales reps said to me, his name was Justin. He said, "Hey, Harley," I've never met him before. He said, "Hey, Harley, 2 weeks ago, you were in our Melrose store, I think, or one of their LA stores, and you bought I think they're the parachute pants. By the way, if you like those, we have something similar to that just came in, and we have your size." I was like, "Oh, that's unbelievable," because it means that, that truly is retail everywhere. That, but by the way, I had actually not bought the parachute pants in the Melrose store. He was wrong about that. I bought them online. But the fact that they had this perfect catalog and inventory of exactly what I've purchased, and they knew how to mix and match it, that was already a great, I think, experience. What happened after that was even more remarkable, because he said, and also, as any of you that met me in person, I'm quite short. I'm 5'4", 5'5" on a very, very good day, as someone would attest to. They knew exactly what measurements to shorten the pants to. And even before I asked, he said, "And by the way, we'll have them to you in Ottawa," which is where I was living at the time. "We'll have them to you in Ottawa within 5 days." That's not a mind-blowing experience on its own. And for most people, I don't think they fully appreciate how incredible that was. It's not something that I put on social media. But for me, that was the pinnacle of what I think retail and commerce, where it's going, where you have this single point of inventory. You have a single identity for a consumer, and you know everything about them. You know where they shop, how they shop, what they bought, what they should buy subsequent to their previous purchase, and you even know that they like to have their pants shortened because they're not tall. That I think is incredible. I just want to follow up with another example. I actually have not experienced this myself yet, but recently I had a friend that. One of the cool things that James Purse does is they have these houses in Cabo. I think they have 5 houses now, but he had rented one of these houses. They're all for rent. Anyone can rent them. It's sort of a big villa you can rent with a bunch of friends or with family.
Next CX Connect, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's where you should have it for sure. And so this is incredible. So you rent these houses in Cabo from James Purse, and you walk in, and if you are a James Purse customer, whether you've bought 1 T-shirt or you've bought 100 T-shirts like I have, when you open the closet, there are complimentary pieces of clothing that go with the things you already bought in your particular sizes. And you can literally just take it off and scan a QR code and you can purchase them. The couches, because James Purse also does incredible home furnishings, the couches all have QR codes on them, which you can purchase. The surfboard, the pool table, the ping pong table, the silverware, the cutlery. That I think is incredible. That to me is, I haven't experienced this myself yet, but I hope to do so soon. But that I think is emblematic of where this is all going, where there's no barriers in terms of channel conflict or channels themselves. It's all one unique experience. And the thing that actually is most impressive is that you as a consumer, you don't really know, you're not really shopping in store or online or, in a pop-up situation. You're just kind of like, there's stuff here, you may like it. And if you want it, it's super convenient. And I think that to me is the pinnacle of where customer experience needs to go.
That's awesome. So first off, thanks for sharing. And second, what I'm hearing is like, it's a lot about this personal relationship and the personalization of the experience. And that connects quite well to what we were talking about just before, which is the fact that AI knows you a lot so that it can already do a good job at giving you this personalized experience. And then the time that you have available can be used to reproduce the experience that Harley has with humans that already know you really well and can make sure you have an amazing experience in store. So I think that's great that you outlined this, because then that gives us like something to aim for as a group to say, hey, how can we give that to our own customers? So really excited about this.
And just as I think James Purse is an extreme example. I don't think, first of all, it's expensive. Most people cannot afford it. I feel very fortunate that I can even afford a single t-shirt from them. Growing up, that was not a thing for me. But there's other examples that are a little bit less, mind-blowing, less luxurious, but are also equally as impressive. And a very simple thing is, I noticed that Mad Happy is doing this right now. They have a store this summer in the Hamptons, but Glossier has been doing this, I think, like since day one when they started having physical stores. When you walk into a Glossier store, obviously Glossier is selling cosmetics, but additionally they also sell merch. There are hoodies in their stores, and each city has a city-specific hoodie. Mad Happy is doing specific Hampton, apparel this summer because they're in the Hamptons. That's a very small thing. You don't have to necessarily know anything. There's no AI involved there. There's no necessarily any type of CRM or customer data platform CDP involved. They're just simply saying, you went to the Tokyo Glossier store, or you went to the Toronto Glossier store, or you went to the New York store, and you have a different experience. Even so much that like you kind of get to wear that different experience out the door on that sweatshirt. I think that is a very simple thing that some companies do it really well. Most companies don't even think about it. But that's a simple thing that actually makes you feel like, oh, this is a unique thing for me. I don't feel like I'm at any random store. I'm at the Mad Happy in the Hamptons for summer 2024.
So just to double click on this point, I think what's interesting is that a lot of us are competing as brands with marketplaces. And one of the key assets that we have is our brand identity. Like, we stand for something. There's a founder that started this company that had a reason to do it. And then there's the story that we communicate with everyone. So I think what I'd love to hear from you, Harley, is like, what are some of great ways you've seen brands leverage this story to go out there in the market?
Yeah, look, I'm just going to say the thing that all of us in the room, I think, already believe. I looked at the guest list before jumping on here about an hour ago. I know many of you in the room, and I know a lot of your companies as well. When you're in a direct-to-consumer business model, you own your customer information. You get to use it, you get to listen, you get to iterate. And I think that historically, customers would go to brands, customers would go to businesses. That's not the case anymore. The expectation is brands must now go to the customer. And the way that sort of manifests itself is something as simple as, there's a great sunglass company that I love on Shopify. It's Crew, Krewe. And they've been around for 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. I've been buying them for 4 or 5 years or so. But every June, I buy my kind of summer sunglasses. They're not. I mean, they're around $250, so they're not cheap, but they're not too expensive either. And they somehow have figured out that there is a particular date when the weather is a particular way, that if they send me a great email with just great new designs, I'm likely going to buy. They are coming to me and saying, "We know you buy." Now, I don't know. I mean, this isn't it could be a spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be a massive CDP technical lift. But the fact that they're able to anticipate that this is usually when I buy my sunglasses for the summer, and they're able to target me and market to me, I don't feel sold to. I think it's a very convenient way. I get to choose, I get to opt into whether or not to complete the purchase and complete the transaction. But the idea that they actually give me, that they've spent the time to build empathy around how I buy, when I buy, what I buy, and then give me the right merchandise and the right, selection. Like, it's as simple as that. That to me is a great way to reconnect. Another great example, and this is Mattel was created in the 40s. Two products at Mattel, historically famous products. Hot Wheels was one, and Barbie was the other. Obviously, now they have a lot of others as well. I bought my daughters American Girl accessories and products for. I had two daughters. They're 5 and 8. Buying them for years. They ask a very simple question at checkout, which is, "What's your birthday?" Or "What's my daughter's birthday?" And then you have to actually select whether or not it's a gift, because then they gift wrap it for you. So they probably don't know that anyway. But because of that, they just, unannounced, without asking for anything in return, send my kids a birthday card every single fucking year. And somehow, I'm certain that, if you sent a birthday card to my mom and you were the wrong brand, I think my mom would probably find that creepy. But it's the right brand, and it's the right type of birthday, and it's the right type of demographic, and it's perfect. It's perfect. Now, every time when I get that card from Mattel or American Girl, do I go and rush on the site? No. But it's this wonderful reminder that that's a brand that kind of gives a shit. And they actually like the fact that, my kids are part of this American Girl community. Ironically, they're Canadian, but there's no Canadian girl yet. But that stuff really matters. And actually, just going back to, obviously, with your background and Romain and everything you've done and where you come from, like, no one does this better than the luxury retailers. The luxury retailers have such a high EQ around empathy and customer experience. It is mind-blowing. If you walk into, I'm only going to talk about Shopify brands, obviously, today, so I'm sure there's lots of others, but you walk into Paulin, or you walk into Isabelle Marant, or you walk into Nicholas Kirkwood, or you walk into Ami Paris, the experience you get there, the store clerk, forget whether or not they're on commission or not. It doesn't almost matter. But the experience you get there is so great. And I think if you can translate that across to more mainstream brands, using technology, leveraging things like AI, but again, just basic e-commerce retail technology like Gorgias and Shopify and many of the products a lot of you are using, you end up winning. You make it almost impossible to compete with you. And even if they don't love your product, that particular season, that particular SKU, it's still a reminder that that's a company that actually gives a shit.
Yeah, it's super interesting that you mentioned that, because I have two similarities with Harley here. So Harley, I believe you moved from Ottawa to Montreal, so west. Correct. I moved from San Francisco to Paris, so east in my case, or like west, but like further west.
Yes, yes.
And what's interesting is, like, when you live in
your distance is a lot longer. My distance was 2 hours. Your
slightly. But what's cool is, like, when I was in SF, I would go to my kids' like friends' birthday parties, and people would talk about tech. And now that I'm in Paris, I go to my kid's birthday party, and people talk about like luxury brands, and I got to get the same experience of what you just mentioned. And some of the friends of my kids, their parents like tend to work at brands like Hermes, for example. And what happens there is they have like dedicated concierge to each of the customers. So obviously, if you want the unit economics to work, like, you need to the Hermes bag needs to be like quite pricey, and they are, so it works for them. But I think what's exciting is, like, we have an opportunity as a group in e-commerce to like reproduce some of that experience, like Harley was saying just a sec ago, not for like super pricey items, but for like $100 items, because we can use technology to reproduce some of that experience. So that brings me to my next question, Harley, is the hot topic of the moment is AI, and obviously you're seeing like so many brands and their experiences that they provide. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the good use cases you've seen around AI?
Yeah. I have a mentor of mine who's 82 years old. Some of you in the room may know him or know of him. His name is Aldo Bensadoun. Aldo Bensadoun was the founder of Aldo Shoes. He was, frankly, a very poor immigrant to Canada. And he immigrated to Canada when he was a kid. So I don't know, like literally 70 years ago. And he started Aldo Shoes and is now, like, he's built this $1 billion empire with Aldo. They're all over the world. And Aldo, I asked him questions about like raising kids and life and all this stuff and building companies. And he asked me questions about like technology, like AI. And I had lunch with him a couple weeks ago. And he's, first thing he said, he says, I just want to ask you this question. He's like he was trying to test me. He's like, to me, AI is, and he says in this like his beautiful French accent, because he's this very charming older man. He's lovely guy. And he says, AI to me feels like it's just like a best friend. And I was like, go on. And he's like, well, it's just like, it's a best friend that knows everything about you, that can just always be helpful, where the answer to every question is, how about yes? And actually, I thought that was remarkably insightful and remarkably thoughtful for a man who, I don't think he writes his own emails. I suspect his assistant's writing emails for him. So the fact that he's thinking about it, I just like it, there's that line, speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old, explain to me like a 5-year-old. Well, this is sort of like the 81-year-old version of that. And in many ways, like, I think he's right. I think AI is for everybody. The way that we think about it at Shopify is that we're embedding AI across the entire platform, not just like, we don't have like one product that uses it. We think about it, across like, how do we make Shopify better by embedding AI across every different product? And there's sort of 2 buckets of that, which is like how we sell or how you sell, and then how we buy or how you buy. And the how we buy or how you buy sort of section is quite simple. What you've seen so far from us has been like our shop app now has this like AI powered assistant, which helps you shop product. And you can just go to shop.ai in a browser or on the shop app if you want. You can test it at any time. But it's a very simple thing. Okay, so hey, I'm Harley. I got an 8-year-old daughter named Bailey. I want to have a barbecue this Saturday for her. My budget is $1,000, and she's really into like, I don't know, rainbows and unicorns. True story, she is. Yeah. So it'll then suggest everything I need across, I think we have about 280 million products in the shop app. So across, call it 300 million products, it's going to curate for me everything I need. It'll give me tablecloths, it'll give me piñata stuff, it'll give me, decorations, all this type of stuff, but it'll also respect my $1,000 budget. That is incredible. That's really cool. It's amazing. But something even simpler than that is like what we have now with semantic search. So I know some of you in the room actually run like the day-to-day, you spend your time in Shopify admin, so you'll appreciate this. So many brands and businesses and retailers today still are getting nil searches in their search bar. So consumer goes and types in, I'm looking for sandals. We don't have sandals. So it's a nil search. It comes back and says not available, or whatever, something like that, some language like that. That's insane. By having semantic search built into search across every single online store means that if I'm looking for sandals, I may not have that, but maybe it has something similar to it. Maybe it has something that's like open toe shoes, or something that resembles that. But it now has an idea that this consumer is fundamentally shopping for a trip or a vacation or a holiday, or just to go to the beach. That information is so valuable, and the consumer is offering it up to you for free. They're coming and saying, this is what we want. So this idea of like semantic search is not this mind-blowing idea in the way that I think, shop.ai is, but it's super simple. So that's on the shopping side. On the actual, like, how do I sell side, that's where I think Sidekick plays a huge role. So AI at Shopify, we call it Shopify Magic. It's embedded across everywhere. But there's also this thing that, which some of you have played with already. It's still, I think it's still in early access, but you'll see more of it come in the next few weeks. But it's called Sidekick, and it's an AI-enabled assistant. And it helps you do all types of stuff, from making better decisions, so running sales data, but also like things like product descriptions. You might be the greatest merchant, the greatest merchandiser, the greatest brand person on the planet. You might be James Purse, who I think I put him at the top of the list in terms of one of the best retailers I know. Does he know how to write product descriptions? Maybe he knows how to write product descriptions for me, but like, there's no way if you put James Purse, Diane von Furstenberg, and Bernard Arnault in a room together and had them write product descriptions. I don't know, you may get a Frankenstein thing come out of that, but there's no way that they're going to write a better product description than Shopify Magic. We just have more information available at our fingertips right now in hyper real time, and it's always updating every single millisecond. So things like that, or like things just like, like our photo editing app that uses Shopify Magic, again, not this mind-blowing thing, but it's really like to allow every merchant to generate these super high quality product images and make professional edits right on their mobile phones whether you have a huge company, whether you're, Staples or Mattel or you're, Gymshark, or you're just a solo entrepreneur, you're able to make these things. And what it ultimately allows you to do is spend less time on these these very time-consuming tasks that are not that creative, and allows you to focus your time on building your business. And I think that is remarkable. And I think that's where this thing is only get better and better over time.
Love this answer. Cool. So I want to switch gears a little bit. What I think has been fun for, I'm sure for you, Harley, and for me as well, being in this space, is everyone in this room is pretty much on a journey. You join maybe you start the brand yourself, or you join the brand at a certain point of the story, and then you scale it. You go unlock the next stage, and then the next stage, and the next stage. And there's always something new here. And I think we learn a lot by going through all these unlocks that we have. But there's a lot of challenges along the way. And so, since Harley, you've been at it for many, many years, I'd love to hear some of the key unlocks that you've seen to growth. What are the different pieces of advice you have to scale a business?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about AI, so just some very simple thing. I as some of you know, I do run a store myself on the side. It's called Fire Valley Tea. I started with my best friend, David Siegel, and it's a super high-end tea company. As you probably noticed, I'm very high energy. I cannot drink tea in the afternoon, otherwise I'll never sleep, and my anxiety peaks. So we had this really great company. But mostly we started this company because David's obsessed with tea, and I'm obsessed with commerce and retail, and so I wanted to experiment with stuff. So a couple things just on the AI side that I think is just super simple. One is removing and replacing backgrounds using Shopify Magic Media Generation. This idea of trying something and then 5 minutes later trying something else and being able to get feedback in real time, and then deciding which actually is the one you're going to keep in a more permanent way. Super simple. Shopify Magic Text Generation, writing product descriptions. But actually the thing that I think is even cooler is this, we have this product, we sort of loosely call it the AI generated email responses, which just makes writing emails to your customers super fast. But what's really amazing is it also generates suggestions for email subject lines. And that is based on using a ton of data. Obviously, Gorgias, you guys do a lot of this stuff as well with us. So Romain, you know a lot about this particular one. But this idea that tells you the best time to send the email. It tells you what keywords automatically to generate based on the subject line. It helps you understand who to send to, when to send to. These are things that are now available to everyone natively. That is unbelievable. In some cases, you had these teams of people writing email copy years ago. You now can do it AI is going to do a better job, which means that those people that were busy writing copy, they can actually they can work on stuff now that is far more high leverage, where a human must do it. And I think that's incredible. And then maybe at a more macro level, I think something that most merchants that I'm seeing now that are really, we have millions of stores on Shopify. If you look at my, forget GMV for a second, but just, my 250 favorite shops on Shopify. I won't say all their names there because I don't want to pick my favorite children or anything like that. But they all do the same, one thing. And it's this deep authenticity of what they actually are. And if they are selling coconut water, and they have a physical store, there's no DJ in there. There's probably more of a yoga studio in there. And if they're Ben at Gymshark, they're doing a smoothie bar. They're not doing something that feels, they're not doing a barber shop. There's this connection between the most successful brands and retailers and a deep understanding of who they are, and they don't try to be everyone. I was talking to Trina, is the great LA entrepreneur, founder, her and Heather was founder of Figs, started on Shopify, now a large publicly traded company. They make the nurses scrubs, the doctor scrubs, which are incredible. During the pandemic, they started a job site to help frontline workers find new jobs. That was exactly what they should have done at that particular moment in that particular time for that particular consumer. And then it was funny, they did it, and there was a bunch of articles written about the Figs job site career sites, and a bunch of other companies started doing it as well. And guess what? It didn't work as well. Why? Because it wasn't built for other companies. This particular thing was built for figs. That matters. There was this period of time, many of you in the room will remember this, between 2004 and like 2014, sort of 10-year period, where every single physical retailer had a DJ and a barista. And again, some of them should have that. Most of them had no business doing that. Then there was another period of time where everyone started having these like big demos, like sort of, in the movie Big with Tom Hanks, the FAO Schwartz scene where he's dancing on the piano, big piano keys. Yeah, some places should have that. Most places shouldn't have that. And so I think like that is timeless advice that worked 100 years ago. The baker was giving out samples, but the cobbler was not giving out samples because it doesn't make any sense for the cobbler to give samples out. There is this inherent desire to be everything to everyone, and I don't think that's a winning formula.
Thanks for sharing. Cool. All right, so I want to wrap up this conversation with more of a personal question. So personally, like I've been on this journey for 10 years, and I think you start with a certain reason to do this, and then over the years you meet like you guys in the room, and you hear about like the challenges you face, and you fall in love with the problem, and that like even more of a drive for you to keep going on the mission. So Harley, I saw on Twitter you had your Shopify bar mitzvah not so long ago, and I see that you're approaching 15 years at Shopify. And so I'm really curious to hear, like, what is it that drives you today?
I think that the greatest way to spend your time and to work on your craft and to do your life's work is to find a place of work, a business, a company, a foundation, organization, where the mission of that thing and your personal mission, the Venn diagram overlaps. I think that's where all of the magic happens. And just to take a moment of not to get too emotional, talking at a conference like a tech conference like this, but entrepreneurship has been the greatest resource for me and my family for our entire life. My grandfather immigrated to Canada with my father in the 50s, 56 from Hungary after surviving the Holocaust. They came with no money, no language, no skills, nothing. My grandfather became an egg merchant, selling eggs at the Jean Talon Farmers Market in Montreal, which that egg stall, any of you are from Montreal, that egg stall is still there at the Jean Talon Farmers Market. My uncle now runs it. So my father's life as a new immigrant here they weren't rich at all, but there was food on the table. Why? Because of entrepreneurship. When I was 13, I wanted to be a DJ. Nobody would hire me. My dad said, stop complaining, start your own DJ company and hire yourself. I did. When I was 17, Dad wasn't around anymore, had to support myself and my mom and sisters and pay their rent, pay for tuition, started a t-shirt business. So the greatest resource, the greatest tool that I've had in my life, like for my whole life, has been entrepreneurship. And the fact that I now get to help lead a company whose mission is also about entrepreneurship, that's the greatest thing in the world. And I think the reason that, I'm 40 years old, turned 40 this year, and I've been at Shopify for about 15 years. So, about a third of my life has been spent at this company. I like to spend my whole life at this company. It's because of that. It's because that, like, if you are lucky enough to find something, and by the way, it doesn't have to be a tech company. It could be a clothing company. It could be an organization. It could be when the thing that drives you personally is reflected in the mission of the place where you go and you call what you call work, everything changes. Not only it does not feel like work, but you can build something much bigger. You feel you don't have this thing called burnout, which frankly is, most people that I know personally well that have been burnt out, it wasn't because of long hours. It was because there was this dissonance between what they actually gave a shit about on a personal level and what their business, what their company, what their employer, what their organization was up to. And when that dissonance gets, if that dissonance stays too long, you eventually feel burnt out. And I think the reverse is also true. You feel incredibly energized when that Venn diagram overlaps. And I hit the launch button on my first Shopify store in 2006. I was sitting in tax law class at the University of Ottawa. One of the first merchants on Shopify, as many of you I think have heard the story. that was an incredible thing. That was an incredible moment, that sitting in tax law class, not listening to the professor because I hated, I didn't want to be a lawyer anyways, and I'm just doing it to become a better entrepreneur. I was selling to a global audience. Like, it was like this light bulb went off. Like, oh my God, this is remarkable. I am now selling. I'm sitting in this class. All these other people are doing real student stuff and judging me for not studying. And I now have a global business because of this collection of lines of code that Toby wrote. And I knew that it was obvious to me then that whatever I was going to do for the rest of my life was going to be deeply connected to helping other people find their own version of success through entrepreneurship. And I can't think of a better company than Shopify for me on a personal level.
Wow, that's a pretty big story. Thanks a lot for sharing this personal story of yours. Cool. All right, that's it for our conversation with Harley. I want to thank you, Harley, for spending the time. I know you have a big week next week, so thanks for spending the time to spend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, and hopefully come up and give me a big hug and saying hi. And for those in the audience, I know many of you, and I know most of your companies. Thank you for being part of this crazy community, this ecosystem we have. Shopify would never be what it is today without many of you. And more importantly, I think this entrepreneurship thing we all got going together, we're all kind of members of this club, and it's, I think, the greatest club ever. And I think there's, we push each other and we debate, and we're, when someone's doing something wrong or someone pushes a feature or a new update that sucks, we call each other out. But I think there's like deep respect and deep admiration. And most importantly, what we all share together is like deep ambition. We all want to build something incredible. And I feel very lucky to be in this community with all of you. So thank you.
Thanks.
Merci, mon ami.